Well, I had a whole bunch of other things I was going to say, and now I can't even remember what they were. I guess my first thing would be to request and beg council to stay classy. Like what happened? Council asked the Auditor General to come up with a report regarding what his bosses get paid. Right? No, yeah, we did. That's what the motion was that was passed, right? You can't argue that because it's right there on paper. And that's what we did. And we said, go out and create a committee, Auditor General, and he did, right? So the former president of my university, Colin Dodds, Cheryl Hodder, Amy McIsaac, and Gerald Walsh, right? Sitting in the audience today. All good people, well-known people. I would suggest Jerry has some expertise in salary and benefits, but that's just me. I mean, based on having hired you a couple times and stuff to work on things for Music Nova Scotia, I'm pretty sure you know these things. So I guess the first piece that I was going to talk about is let's keep in mind that the work of the committee and their recommendations, they've done what we asked. It's up to us to accept or reject, but there's no need for personal attacks and questioning their competency. That has absolutely no bearing on the discussion we're having right now. It's ludicrous, right? And then the administrative problems we're having today, where we have some disagreement between the clerk and the solicitor and the CAO, are entirely separate from the work of the committee. And that is a discussion we should have, but not right now, probably at a later date, about how the heck did that happen. All right? So second point, there's two big things that we're talking about here in terms of the salary, leaving aside the benefits and the pension and all that stuff. We're talking about the base pay and the increase. I'm on record and I've said a dozen times in this chamber since I was elected, I think it's wrong for us to get a raise that is disconnected from what the residents of Halifax are getting in terms of their pay increase or our unionized staff. I think it's wrong. I think it's bad leadership. Read any book about corporate leadership and it tells you that you lead from the front. We're not doing it. We should change the formula. The formula doesn't work for that. The base, it's debatable. They'll admit if we let them actually come up here, and they are prepared to come up, and if we wanted to hear from them, they may have changed their mind at this point and don't want to come up, and I wouldn't blame them. But the base, yeah, 1.25 times the average wage of workers in Halifax, I think that is a bit of a gut decision on their part, and I get that, and that's fine, but we could debate that. We could debate that, and we could talk about that. Let's talk about the facts and what we're trying to achieve here. Let's talk about the formula we have right now. Blah, 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 formula that's been around forever. It's flawed. Any formula that includes HRM in there, basically what the public needs to understand is the formula right now says that it says, you know what, you should get a raise. You want to know why? Because one of the benchmarks, you guys got a raise last year. That's what it says right now. That is not ethical either. That is crazy. So the formula, in my mind, whether we go with this recommendation or not, it needs to be changed. Our residents should not accept that from us. We should be embarrassed by that. I agree on Councillor Walker's comments about the pension. I do. If we're trying to align our pay increases in a way that shows leadership, I know that I've had a lot of residents. We're asking for a lot of stuff from our workers around the pension. We are asking for concessions and changes to the pension that make a lot of them really nervous. Us being in the pension, I had one union guy put it to me bluntly, I like to know if the boat sinks, you're in the boat with me, right? So maybe that is a good amendment that we could discuss depending on how the debate goes. Maybe we amend it and we say we want to go back to the pension committee, ask them for their input about how they'd like to see this change. Recognizing, and this leads me to my final point, that we're not employees, we're public servants. Right? We are not employees, so to benchmark us, to look at what I do in the run of a day and then compare that to someone in private sector, I don't think that is appropriate. And I think the committee made that point, and I agree with them. There are plenty of people in our society who work more than they're paid. Priests and rabbis, daycare workers, social workers, plenty of folks in our society who work more than they get paid. And we're one of them, and it's a privilege to be here, right? I didn't do this job for the money. I did this job for the opportunity to make Halifax a better place and to make change. So, with all that in mind, I hope that we have a bigger conversation for the rest of today. I don't like where it was going, right? I think that we should be talking about, what do we really want to change today, and what message are we sending to our employees and to the public? Thank you very much for your work on the report, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the debate.